should be a shock to no one that it happened, but like the fight game ain't a joke. You know what I mean? Like the fight game is not a joke, people. Um, Hell, that's why Dana in the UFC he's been so successful because he teaches those guys like, listen, man, this ain't a joke. Your life, you need to be smart when you're going against another fighter. You need to be very, very headstrong when you're going against another fighter. You got to be smart about it, and you got to take it seriously. And Nate Robinson clearly did not whatsoever. So, um, but yeah, Logan Paul's gonna get knocked the hell out. Because it's one thing to not be able to touch him, but he's gonna have more power than your average man, Floyd Mayweather. Now he excuse me, he never knocked out a lot of boxers in his day, but don't let that fool you thinking that Floyd has no power whatsoever. I'm actually excited to see the fight. Like, I'm kind of hoping Floyd knocks him out. I don't often root for Floyd Mayweather. I will be rooting for Floyd to knock the boy out. You know, for the culture. Um, I believe there's a couple of fights on Fight TV tonight. I actually did not set myself up uh, to talk about those. Look for those if you have Fight TV. There actually will be a couple of fights. They don't cost much, so you really want to learn about the boxing game. Seriously, listen to those fights and then to those analysts during those fights, and you'll see the boxing game really is mostly mental, man. It's a very, very technical sport. Yeah, power helps you. Mike Tyson went lion almost 30 years ago. What he said was real, but Logan Paul's getting knocked out. Um, he ain't even gonna put a hand on Floyd Mayweather. I'm being real. I don't lie. Um, Now into the week of wrestling. We kind of started with NXT, or I should start with NXT. Very interesting NXT this past Sunday. Um, it was War Games. I'll just kind of quickly go through it. We had the Women's War Games, Team Shotzi versus Team Candice LeRae. Team Candice LeRae did win. Brian Alvarez has been talking about wrestling as a former wrestler himself for about 25 years. The guy, listen, I might not always agree with him, but the guy knows what the hell he's talking about. He's not an idiot. Like, like it's real. Like even if I don't always agree with his opinions, I know it's actually coming from a genius place. This was the first NXT match in a long time where what the hell they were booking. This thing was an overbooked mess. I liked the start of it. I really enjoyed having Dakota and Ember start it. These two are, I mean, they're cardiac kids. Ember Moon, I even even now I think is still really underrated. She is exciting to watch. I haven't really liked her new character going back to NXT, but you know what? Man, and she's actually learning to speak a little better with this character, but it's just it's so up and down that I haven't been into it as much as I was into her previous character. Then of course, because Team Shotzi got the upper hand, and this is where the booking mess begins because they literally, excuse me, they literally basically booked this backwards. I 100% agree with Brian Alvarez's take on this. And when EO joined and helped make this happen, I was like, wait, what? Because in war games, stories usually work better if the heels have the upper hand in the match, because you kind of want to tell the story. Usually in war games, and it's it's formulaic, but it's helpful that you know one team, usually the heel team has the upper hand, and the baby faces have to find a way to overcome that upper hand. Heels cheat, try to keep maybe one of the more powerful baby faces out of the two cages, things of that nature. The way they booked this thing, though, um, was that sorry about that, was that the, the baby faces mostly, for the most part, before basically EO was called out, mostly always had the upper hand, and yet they were getting their butts whipped cleanly. It was it was definitely an overbooked mess. And it's like I said, it's one of those things where like I don't know, it's so weird to me because um it's just weird to me because usually NXT doesn't make these mistakes, and they clearly made these mistakes on this day. So nice finish to the match. I do like that they're booking Raquel Gonzalez. It basically feels like she's everything that they've always wanted Tamina and Nia Jax and some of the other like bigger women to be. Karma, I never count because she was never in WWE long enough to count. But yeah, I didn't mind the finish. The trash can spot was stupid, but I did like it. I thought it was really stupid though, because then like I figured what happened. She got stuck in the damn trash can. EO did when Dakota's technically going to try to pin her. It was an overbooked mess. I'm happy it's over, but it was an overbooked mess. I'm going to kind of skip through different spots, but so Tommaso Ciampa versus Timothy Thatcher. Listen, get the network, go check it out. Seriously, get the network, go check it out. Tommaso understands as a wrestler, especially with all the neck injuries, he understands that he is probably on borrowed time in his beloved profession. Like I think he understands I am on borrowed time. You just never know at this point when that neck won't allow him to feel much in certain areas, like um because really, he's a guy that should have gotten a call up and a push already. Johnny Gargano as well. Johnny could have worked very well in the main roster, but we'll get to the main roster stuff here shortly. But yeah, go check out that match on WWE Network. The triple threat really wasn't that bad for the NXT North American Championship. Um, the booking of returning Austin Theory, which I got to be honest, I don't know who would have been surprised by that. Austin Theory coming back. Of course, he didn't quit. Like, of course, he was going to join Johnny Gargano. How stupid! Like how stupid. But really fun match. Leon Ruff is now a guy you can take seriously as a mid Carter. I liked what they're doing with Leon Ruff, and Damian Priest has looked much better this year. Much better. When he first came into NXT, I liked the setup for the character, but I never liked how it was being carried out. And I didn't think that was always on, the guy behind Damian Priest, or for those who watch ROH, Punishment Martinez. Uh, but yeah, that triple threat, pretty good. Like the ending. I'm okay with Johnny being a 3-time North American champion. Doesn't really matter, because in the sense that like really what Johnny is a way for them to build young guys in NXT at this point, because I think him and Tommaso don't really plan on going up anytime soon, and I don't think they're really going to get a call up from the main roster anytime soon, which stinks because they could probably use them. But I digress. Um, And then the men's War Games match was awesome. Say what you will about Pat McAfee. Um, this is, like I said, this is one of the things I disagree with Brian Alvarez on. I actually like Pat McAfee every time he's in NXT. He brings kind of an old school heel style to it. I like it. Like it's so hokey's like late '90s, but I dig it. Like that's what I grew up on. Very hokey stuff in like WCW and WWF back then. Um, because when you go back and watch this stuff, it's so hokey, it's so ridiculous, it's so over the top, and yet it's better. There's nothing wrong with that kind of stuff. It just doesn't work as much now. But um, I thought this match was booked perfectly. Undisputed Era, who at some point had to get a call up, you would think. The rumors are is that guys like Paul Heyman and Bruce Pritchard and stuff are especially high on Adam Cole, baby. So I would think there's not a whole lot left for them to do in NXT. Though I do like that currently they are keeping Kyle O'Reilly kind of in the main event mix. I actually think that works very, very, very well. So overall, out of 5, I gave the show, I think, a 2.9 out of 5, not quite a 3. I thought it was a good show. I just the overbooking. Oh yeah, and Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis was probably way better than it should have been. I really like the Dexter Lumis character. I know a lot of people do not. I have a thing for dark characters. Especially when done right. But yeah, Cameron Grimes plays his role very well of this like insane country boy, and it's good stuff. So yeah, I gave it a 2.9, not quite a 3, because the women's match really, like, there's so much unforgivable booking in that like it really, like, I'll bump it up to a 3. I'll bump it up to a 3. We'll say 3 out of 5. Nothing was over stellar on the pay-per-view, and then that women's match was just a mess. And hopefully next year they'll do it a lot better. Now going into Monday Night Raw, I'm just gonna kind of hit some of the main beats of Monday Night Raw. So one of the biggest main beats of Monday Night Raw this week was The Fiend and Randy Orton's story. The show kicks off for Randy Orton. Cuts a really good Orton promo. I mean, when Orton's into something, even now at age 40, he's really good. Like, he's really, really good. And he's the perfect WWE cat. Like, he really is. And so, he's cutting this really good promo about, listen, I know about being a sick SOB and this and that, and how he plans to, go knock on the door at the Firefly Funhouse, which, by the way, WWE's got to stop promising stuff, and then it doesn't happen, because that never actually happened. The Firefly Funhouse pops up on the screen. It's Bray. Bray cuts an amazing promo. They play a little game called so it's not, because they can't call it a crucifix, it's a crucix. And they play a little game called something, Let's Talk Randy or something, or Let's Get Randy. Sorry, Let's Get Randy. And it's funny. Like, go watch the segment. It's really funny. Bray's probably one of the best minds in WWE today. And has deserved just mostly full creation or full control of his creation, whatever story he does. Because most of the time, when you can tell he's got most of his hands on it, it's excellent. It's excellent. And a big part of this story throughout the night is so because at the end of Firefly Funhouse, I don't give away big spoilers. You can always go watch it on YouTube. They always put the highlights up by the time I talk about it on Saturday. One of the big things after that is that, he challenges Bray to a match. He says, I already have the Fiend at TLC. I want you in a match tonight. And of course, Bray accepts. Apparently now, according to WWE, with their piped in crowd noise, now Bray Wyatt is a babyface. WWE, I don't know if you know this, even if he was technically a heel, he's always been cheered. So you guys got to catch up with the program with your fans. Like, it's weird because I think even if fans come back, I think WWE would probably prefer to keep doing the piped in noise. Another main beat tonight, or of that night, was so Retribution lost an intergender tag team match. Unless she's gonna get the big win overall. Mia Yim is being wasted in this group. I mean, you could say the same thing about Dijakovic. I mean, for guys like Madden and the Australian, listen, man, I can understand why they're kind of main points in the group. To me, it makes all the sense in the world, and really, they've done this whole Retribution thing wrong from the get go, because there's a lot of cool stuff there. It's just being done wrong to me. Especially with Mustafa Ali as the leader. I love it. It should be better than what it is. There was also more Nia, Asuka, Lana, and Shayna Baszler stuff. We got an Asuka versus Shayna Baszler match, and yet it was circled around the story for Lana. I don't mind the Lana story, but that did irk me on Monday when I got the chance to go watch a DVR rerun of the show. Because Asuka versus Shayna Baszler should be one of the big 4 pay-per-view matches for the women's championship. And yeah, we got some hokey 5-minute match. And now next week, Lana is supposed to face Nia Jax. Even though there is this funny bit later on where she's doubting herself. She's like, I'm gonna get killed, basically. And Asuka's like, no. Believe in yourself. Say, I know I can beat her. I know I can beat her. And as she's saying it, she turns around and there's Nia, so she shuts up. And then she just kind of takes off. I actually, to be frank, I actually find that kind of funny. I found it very, very funny, to be honest. But they're not going to win the women's tag team titles off of Nia and Shayna. So I don't believe they will. Especially since I believe Charlotte at some point is slated to return, probably the Rumble. And then there was some footage out this week of Ronda Rousey actually getting back in the wrestling ring. To be honest, I thought we were done with Ronda because, I mean, she popped off at the lip a lot. But they probably figure, especially since they can get fans back at some point, hopefully next year, that having Ronda back brings back some fans, brings back some mainstream pull. So Ronda will be back. I always kind of figured that. It's so stupid because every time they have Asuka as a women's champion, it's just they soften her up for Nia or Becky, or in this case, it could be Ronda. Asuka's one of the best professional wrestlers in the world when you combine men and women's rankings, and it's really not even close. And she really was, outside of Bailey and Sasha, one of the best things going this year on Raw was Asuka. It still is. So we'll see what happens with that next week. I know another beat point was the continued story of the New Day against the Hurt Business. I really like the Hurt Business. Kind of feel bad for Shelton because it just feels like he is the, how do I put this? He's the godfather of like the Nation of Domination back in the late 90s. Like, he'll win matches. He's credible enough to win matches, but most of the time he's going to lose matches. And one of the little story beats in the Hurt Business that they got going right now is the over eagerness, the over aggressive, but the now streaky winning of Cedric Alexander. Really dig this part of the story. I know they kind of teased last week that maybe Shelton and MVP were kind of against this over eagerness, but a lot of that, it feels like, ended up getting pulled back, which is nice. Sorry, give me just a second. And so Kofi beat Shelton. Cedric kind of gets on the mic. He's over eager. He's being a bit of an overbuck, and yeah, like, he gets a win over a former WWE champion. Like, that's huge. I like Cedric. I actually like him in this role because really, before he took up this role, he was doing nothing. Like, he was doing nothing. And then I'll just kind of skip over some stuff. There was excellent match between Jeff Hardy and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley goes a bit too far though at the end after putting on the Hurt Lock, I believe it's called, that full Nelson lock. So they're kind of continuing the Matt Riddle Bobby Lashley thing, which I like. I think that'll be a corking match if they give them some time. I think it'll be a great match. I know I heard a couple of more popular Alvarez and some others talk about how this could be on the pre-show. No, Vince actually likes Bobby Lashley, so I doubt he would do that to him. But I got a feeling that match will probably get announced for TLC next week for the championship. They're probably not going to take the title off of Bobby. But I'm interested to see how the match goes. If they give him some time, even if they decide to do a DQ finish, I actually think it'll go really, really, really well. And then, main event of Raw was Bray Wyatt, Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt, versus Randy Orton. It was a fine match. Actually, it got better once kind of Bray started to take it over, because Bray's actually started to add some new moves to his repertoire recently. But yeah, the main point of this one was the end. So Bray's kind of down. The lights start to go down. And, right before the last one goes down, Randy hits the RKO on Bray. But then the lights cut out before the ref counts to 3. And when the lights come back up, this was obviously pre-taped. You can kind of tell, but it's still cool. He's pinning the Fiend. And it's just a really cool moment. You get a really cool, kind of Fiend beatdown angle. I found it a lot of fun. Impact Wrestling this week. Impact was actually fine. Really like the show. I like a lot of what's going on with Moose. The interesting thing with the whole Impact / AEW Championship thing is Impact actually kind of pre-taped a bunch of their stuff like a few weeks out, I think, for towards the end of the year. I don't know if this Tuesday will be the same. I don't know if this Tuesday was already a tape show. Um, if and by the way, it's not just Access TV. So if you don't have Access TV because you don't have cable, it's fine. Impact actually live streams on Twitch. Go support them, man. They've been doing a lot of cool stuff in the last few years. Definitely go support Impact Wrestling. They deserve your love as a wrestling fan. And of course, one of the main things was the interview with Don Callis, a new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. This new version of the cleaner of Kenny Omega. Um, I did not have a problem with it Tuesday. I had a major problem with it on Wednesday, though. Um, so really, like, because on Impact on Wednesday, he basically damn near beat for beat. They damn near cut kind of the same promo. Um, and it just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, a lot of Impact is pre-taped, so like, it's just the episodes are already in the can. That allows them to just kind of concurrently stream it when it's also out on Access TV at the same time. I'm sure it would be kind of hard to do the live feed on Access TV at the same time and Twitch, um, but yeah, like it's a lot of the same beats. The only difference is that on Wednesday, Kenny actually like at the end, his promo was a bit better because he was talking about, yeah, we and John had a gentleman's agreement, and I whacked him with the microphone, and um, but it doesn't matter anyway because no one kicks out of the One Wing Angel. I did like that. I like that story beat because so far it's true in AEW, no one kicks out of the One Winged Angel. Even if Kenny has taken some pins, no one kicks out of the One Wing Angel. And so yeah, also because between the two nights, I didn't like they basically cut the same promo damn near beat for beat. It just I'm like, well, guys, like clearly you shot this in the trailer angle in Florida. Like I don't believe like you didn't go to Canada to shoot this because Impact has been in the can now for a few weeks. They finished most of this weeks ago, so I think for up until past the first or something like that. Um, Actually, I think Impact has a pay per view tonight. I'll have to look that up. I think Impact has a pay per view tonight. So I'm going to move on to AEW fully. So now that I talked about the Kenny Omega stuff, um, great show. I mean, really, really, really great show. Starts with TH2 versus Young Bucks. TH2 is an excellent tag team. Jack Evans uh and Helico have been doing this for years. If you've never seen AAA, I mean they've been doing this kind of excellent work for years, or even Lucha Underground. And Helico is probably one of the most underrated submission wrestlers on the planet. And that's just because you don't see a lot of his work, but the dude's amazing. And I'm actually happy that they've been allowing him to do more of that in AEW because it's awesome. Like he's because you look at him, you're like, man, what the hell is this skinny kid just another flyer? Like, no, this this skinny kid does the skinny kid locks you up in in the most creative of submission moves to win matches like deeply creative submission moves. I like Angelico a lot. It'll be a it'll be a damn shame when they probably break up TH2 at some point, but I will love to see what they decide to do with Angelico because you can kind of make him an upper mid card player as a heel, especially with that those in ring moves. Um, Match was excellent. Young Bucks do get the win. Um, I'm kind of going out of order here. There was also a FTR versus Brian Pillman Jr. and the kid Garrison Creed. I think, sorry, Garrison Griffin or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm getting his name wrong right now. The Varsity Blondes, they kind of found themselves a name finally. I thought this was a corking match. I always knew while watching Dark that FTR was going to get their win back coming back after losing the tag team championships. But still, it was really cool to see Brian Pillman and Garrison get, this type of love, because these two are very, very good. And I believe I think Brian just left MLW recently, so I don't know if he's going to be full time AEW. I know he just became the OVW, or not OVW, but Ohio Valley Wrestling heavyweight champion. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Brian Pillman Jr. I'm kind of excited for his future. My big problem every week with AEW is the women's stuff. Once again, they just kind of lumped it all together. And maybe it's like, maybe you guys are telling too many stories at once. But I forgave it this week because I love Abaddon, people. She's awesome. And I hope that they kind of continue to do this as a slow build story. I kind of want her to run through the other 4 competitors ranked above her for the championship. She's very, very good. She knows her character, and it kicks ass. Like it's awesome. I think it's absolutely awesome. So she has a squash match, and she starts beating up the girl she squashed, and so Sheeta comes out with a kendo stick. At first, she doesn't want to get in the ring, and I like that they're telling that story that like Sheeta knows like she beat her before, but she survived her when she beat her before, and so there's kind of a natural fear that Sheeta has of her. And she gets in with the kendo stick. Abaddon runs after her, gets whacked like right on top of the head. I'm like, dang, man, that was a tough shot to take. Like that was pretty tough. And what probably made me the most happy was Abaddon plays this so well. So she basically plays dead. Sheeta grabs, I think it was Tasha Price or something like that, or Tasha Price, and gets out before they can try to get out the ring, and before they can even get out the ring, Abaddon, like, it's kind of this cool like hybrid Undertaker setup thing she does, and like just like freaks Sheeta and this girl out. They quickly get out the ring, and like Sheeta kind of backs up on the stage, like, like I said, I hope they kind of continue this as a slow build, and like she starts to beat the competitors in front of her, because like I said, I believe it'll be awesome as that kind of slow build of like, dude, she's right now Abaddon's is running through this women's division, including beating someone like the Beast, and now like say the next pay-per-view I think is in late January for them. So now when that match happens, Sheeta loses, you're like, well, she probably should have. Like, even though Sheeta beat most of these competitors already, she didn't dominate them like Abaddon did. Like I said, I like what they're doing. I love the story, Mark. The one I didn't like was before all this, which was the girl Jade or whatever, and speaking of Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero, excuse me, were beating up Miss Stir It Up Red Velvet, and but it's more women that came to help Red Velvet haven't even been a part of the story beat, and it's just. And then, like, also, like, I think, like, Evil East got involved this time, too, to, like, beat up some of the faces. I'm like, wait, what? Like, there's just no, like, I don't know. It's just, there's no consistency in it. It's just, I'm not a fan of, like, the non-consistency. The six-man tag with Lance Archer and the Lucha Bros and Eddie Kingston and the Butcher and the Blade with the Bunny. Once again, a corking match. Really, like I said, overall, mostly good show. It's just time I watch AEW and I see the women's division, I'm like, you just you gotta, it's gotta be better than this. And I know recently they have been trying to like split the stories between Dark and Dynamite, which they should be doing. Um, because although and really they, to me, like I said, I've always thought. So my buddies do a podcast called 13 Subjects, 13 cards subject to change, and I've been a part of it a few times. I hope to be a part of it again when my schedule works out a little better. My boy Zach and them, go find them on Facebook. You can actually find them on any streaming or podcast holding application. That includes Spotify, that includes Amazon, that includes iTunes. I can go on and on. And they're actually starting to grow kind of quick. But one of the big things me and Zach to talk about on that podcast is the sometimes the inability of them to just promote Dark. If the show is great, they also use it to build young talent, which I like a lot. But like if you're doing a 2.5 hour internet, show, which is what they started to do now, start to put more stories on there, and then on Dynamite, have Jim and Tony and those guys promote it. Hey, listen, go check out Dark. Just do it every other big segment or whatever. Hey, go check out Dark. This happened on Dark. Go check out Dark. Like, promote it more. But I digress. The Sting segment with Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin was fire stuff. Basically, overview is that he comes out. Cody, like ourselves, I've been big fans of Sting for a long time. The only difference is that, of course, Cody's father, God rest his great soul, worked with Sting. As as kind of in the background as a writer. And Sting being one of our favorite wrestlers of the '90s. If you grew up with the WCW stuff in the '90s, he's kind of acting like kind of kitty. He's like happy to see him here. It seems like, well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Really cool area where he said a lot of the faces have changed, but then he looks up at Darby Allin sitting in the stands, which, for those who don't know, that's what Sting used to do. He used to be in the Raptors a lot, and they would do a spotlight on him. It used to be really cool. I mean, it was hokey, but it was really cool. At Darby Allin, and then because he told before that, he told Cody Rhodes, like, listen, man, I'm not even here for you. He's like, I know you're kind of one of the bosses of this company, basically, and you like to know everything that's going on, but I kind of do what I please. And it was, like I said, it was great stuff, man. It was really, really good stuff. Excited to kind of see how that kind of continues. I don't know if they're going to do a Darby Allin Sting storyline, but I'm excited to see what happens next. Excuse me. And then last but not least was the main event. Once again, good stuff overall. MJF versus Orange Cassidy. Earlier in the night, of course, they had will the Inner Circle break up? Basically, the whole overview of that is MJF's kind of a dick. But one of the other things was, the teasing of Sammy quitting the Inner Circle. And like I said, I think that's going to be a slow burn kind of story, but it's very interesting to follow. Go watch the highlights on YouTube of that segment. It's really, really good. It's really fun, especially the end when they kind of address the fact that Jake Hager and Adam Warlow are always like staring at each other. It was actually really, really great stuff. So yeah, MJF versus Orange Cassidy. Really, really great match, even though the Inner Circle kept interfering. And really, I keep saying this because I believe Orange Cassidy can be a strictly main event babyface guy through and through on AEW television. He really, really can. And but I also believe that, like, I'm a big believer that he needs to kind of change some of his in-ring stuff a little bit. He's capable of more, by the way. I forget what his name was before he kind of took up the mantle of Orange Cassidy, but the dude is actually capable of so much. Um, he's got charisma for days. Otherwise, the Orange Cassidy character wouldn't work anyway. But and we got to see some of it, a little bit of it with Chris when he had his feud with Chris Jericho. But they had a fight for the diamond ring. Of course, MJF did win, but it was after Miro who came out. I mean, they clotheslined the hell out of Orange Cassidy and then looked like a straight up beast for the last 5 minutes of the show. Like, I'm like, see, this is the Miro I want to see in AEW. The one that we probably should have seen in WWE and we did not see a lot of the time. Like, that is the guy that I want to see. I'll go on to SmackDown really quick. SmackDown was an okay show. Of course, most of us saw it last night. The big beats on that is Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns works right now as a heel. It's something they probably should have did 5-6 years ago. I digress. The looking into the camera after kind of Kevin Owens comes out, starts to cut the promo about the TLC match. Roman kind of turns around because at first he looks like he's going to come down and fight him. Paul Heyman goes, "Listen, you are the head of the table. You are the tribal chief. You do this on your time. You do not do this on his time." And Roman turns around, starts to head to the back. Kevin goes searching after him. Yeah, you kind of realize that was going to probably be a mistake, and just gets the crap kicked out of him. I'm looking forward to the match. I don't think Kevin's going to win, of course, but I think it's going to be a corking match. And I'm wondering what little things they're going to use to try to protect Kevin, because I think you have to keep Kevin in this main event scene. I'm going to just ignore the fact that Goldberg was on WWE's The Bump talking about how he wanted to fight Roman again. I'm over Goldberg. I'll address that on a different show one day. I've been over Goldberg for well over a decade. I'm over it. That's probably one of the best things going on. The main event was weird. So in the beginning of the night, they kind of set up the contract signing for TLC between Sasha Banks and Carmella. I do like the new entrance for Carmella, for her new character. And I did not mind the setup at the beginning of the show. The only thing that kind of made me go, was Carmella is kind of bad at beatdown angles. She just always has been. So the match ends in a disqualification because it ends up getting turned into, like, Sasha says, screw it, we'll just have the championship match tonight. Come take the championship from me tonight if you think you can do it. And apparently she has this like this black dude or whatever. I don't know who the hell this guy is. I'll call him Mr. Nobody, I guess. So Mr. Nobody is at ringside with her with like champagne bottles when the championship match starts. Great match, by the way, and it's not a shock. If it's literally not a shock how great Sasha Banks is. Like, it's just not. The woman is a perfectionist of her craft, and when I hear she was definitely influenced by Eddie, you can tell. God rest your soul, Eddie. Just man, just awesome stuff. Like I said, it was a corking good match. Sasha, of course, gets herself disqualified because this black dude interferes. Like I said, I don't actually know his name, and I'm not going to care to learn it yet. It's like a black butler. We'll call him Jeffrey. There we go. We'll call him Jeffrey. And so Jeffrey kind of gets himself involved in the match. My name's Jeff. And Sasha loses her cool, starts to beat the hell out of Carmella so much that the ref counts to 5 and disqualifies her. I hate the WWE will do that, but you know what? I'm over it. You know what I mean? You take the story beats. I always think that's a weak way of getting out of something you booked like that. Don't book that match. Book a tag team match or something. I don't know. Anyway, and then Carmella does a good, like, she starts the beat down angle well. She's beating her down on the announce table. She takes one of the wine glass bottles, and just breaks it right over the spine of Sasha, and that was pretty good. But then she just kind of lingered until the show ended, and it was like, dude, you were probably supposed to do like 2 or 3 minutes more of a beatdown, like this is awful. And it's not at first. She When she had James Ellsworth by her side, and she did this with Charlotte once, and she just kind of lingered there, and I'm like, your beatdown angle doesn't work when you linger there too long. Like, do the beatdown, make it as vicious as possible, do the heel smile laugh, the sick heel smile laugh, and then start to walk off, because that makes it work better. She's dating a dude who was a decent heel in NXT, and Corey Graves. Like, go get pointers from him. Like, what? Like, that frustrated me. Good stuff with Otis tonight. Or last night with Otis and Chad Gable. I am kind of interested to see how this, and they have to do something, because the tag team rosters on Raw and SmackDown are just not very good. They're kind of trash. We didn't actually see anything with the Mysterio family and Baron Corbin. They just kind of show a replay of last week. Baron Corbin actually looked better this week, where he decided to put on like a suit. I guess he's still kind of calling himself the king, and Blake and Blake and Murphy's old partner. Well, Blake is Murphy's old partner, but Blake and Cutler um, um, they're being called the Knights of the Lone Wolf, which I dig. I just hope he drops that stupid king gimmick now. Like, we can be done with that. Backstage stuff with Bailey and Bianca was really funny. They're supposed to have a match next week. Also, the stuff with Big E and Sami Zayn, I think it's pretty good. Like I said, I don't know if I would put the Intercontinental Championship back on Big E, but to do a match where, like, I don't know, once again, Sammy could find his way out of it, but Big E still beats him down to kind of still keep him hovering, that you're trying to build him to a main eventer, where he deserves to be. That I like. That I like a lot. There was a Cesaro. Oh, sorry, that was a Chad Gable. Yeah. I feel so bad for Shinsuke and Cesaro. They should be doing so much more than what they are doing. But then again, we also haven't seen them on SmackDown in a couple of months, to be honest. So, but yeah, so SmackDown was an okay show. Looking forward to next week. Next week is the go home for WWE before TLC. They will need to put some more matches on there, because right now I think they only have 3. Actually, sorry, they have 4 on there. AJ and Drew, Roman and Kevin. Who else? Carmella and Sasha, and then Randy and the Fiend. So they'll have to add some more. Because really, you got some decent story beats to have a really decent 2.5-hour show at TLC next Sunday that just kind of flies by. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of build here in the end. Well, I don't have any callers on the radio show today, and that's fine. Like I said, next week I'm going to try to start going to 2 hours, especially starting in the new year. Starting this week, start checking out the YouTube channel more, as I'm gonna actually start dropping like little episodes of shows and stuff that I plan on doing here. I'm gonna try to drop shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays for now. And as long as I can kind of keep up with that schedule, I'll probably change it to Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday before my first live feed of just regular sports stuff on Fridays at 3 Central Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in. Share the show with your friends. Um, much love to you. Go check out my Facebook, facebook.com/jshake. Go ahead, go get yourself liked up on there. Send me a message if you like. If you ever want to be on the show, I'm happy to talk to anyone. Thank you. Love you. Peace out. And to those watching the YouTube stream, thank you. Uh, definitely check out my Twitch. Definitely check out my definitely check out the YouTube page, as I just said on the radio show. I will be on Twitch here in a little bit doing a little gaming. Um, and yeah, always feel free to jump into the comments, even if you don't drop any money. I always like to read comments from people. Um, much love to you. Thank you. Peace out. See you next week.